Hello and welcome to Sonic Hills. Well, the next phase of the hill is to colour the rocks and to paint the ground surface. But before I do that, I want to get this tunnel portal up to scratch. This particular tunnel portal is one that I made myself. It's a copy of a bought one. I made a rubber moulding and poured some plaster into it. But it didn't come out the way the bought one looks, and like things made of plaster, they fall over and get broken. But as you can see, it needs a bit of work done to it to bring it up to spec. So I'm going to do that today. Okay, before I get started in fixing up this portal to look a bit more presentable, I'll first explain how I made my tunnel portal. This is the original, and that also fell over and broke in half, but this is the original. This is a Woodland Scenics tunnel portal. I originally bought 4, but then they're not that cheap to get, and so I thought I'd have a go at making my own. And what I did was I got some Woodland Scenics latex rubber and painted on, I think it was 7 layers of latex rubber painted onto the original, which then gave us this mould. And this tunnel portal was the first one that I made. But I thought that I made it a little bit too thick, and it had a few deformities in it. There's sunken in at the top, a few bulges here and there. So what I did also is I made this wooden frame and then put sand in it to hold the mould in a much better position. Then had a second attempt. This is the second tunnel portal that I made. I didn't make this one as quite as thick, but it still came out with the same deformities, sunken pieces here and here and a few bulges there and there. And I had a third attempt, adding a bit more sand underneath the mould. Made it a little bit thinner this time, and it came out a bit better. As you can see, you drop them or knock them over and they break. But the sunken areas weren't as sunken as the first attempts, and the bulges weren't as big. So if I keep going, by the time I've made maybe 10 of these, I might have a pretty decent copy of the original. So that was how I made it. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my, it's not a Dremel, but it's a copy. It's a mini hobby engraver with some carving tips, and I'm going to try to carve away the bulges so they're not so obvious. And also with the mould, some of the bits of rubber from the mould have actually come off inside the casting. I somehow didn't get the mould to set properly. I did something wrong anyway, but there are rubber specks inside the plaster. So that's what I'm going to do. First thing I'll do is I'll get a sanding block and sand the top flat. I've already sanded the bottom flat so it'll stand up, and then once I've done that, I'll take the engraving tool and start chipping away at the high spots. Okay, well, I've got the top of it flat now. So now I'm just going to start chipping away with it, at it with the tool. Now I know this is going to take me a while, probably several sessions over, I don't know, a few days, maybe a couple of weeks. All depends on how enthusiastic I get about it. Well, I've taken off most of the bulge that is in this section area here, and have got rid of most of the bits of rubber that came out of the rubber mold, and yeah, it looks a lot better. I've just got to put the detail back into it to make it look a lot like a tunnel portal. I'm not going to get this one anywhere near as good as the original. It's just too much work involved, but the little bit I've done, that looks really good. Just got another bulge to take off on the other side. This piece in here. And maybe thin out the inside here a bit. Well, I've taken the bulge that was on this side off now, and it's looking a lot better, and I've added the detail back in, and unfortunately I dropped it again and broke it a third time, so it's now in 3 pieces. Right, but to get the detail back in, I first took the bit that I'd smoothed off, and then I took this little tool here just to put the horizontal grooves back in, and then I've used this little tool here to put the vertical grooves back in. And when it all comes up, you almost can't tell the difference, except that there's a lighter shade where I've taken the area off. And I think once I stain it and add the colours to it, you're not going to tell that I've actually done anything to it. So I'll carry on with the detailing on this side, and then we should be good to go. I've just got to do some fine tuning on that to get it to look like this now. So we'll come back after I've done the fine tuning. Well, there we have the detail to where I like it. I could do more, but the way it looks old, it looks weather beaten, and yeah, I like it. And the couple of breaks, you could say, is earthquake damage. So I like the way it looks. And the defects that we've got on the side here, I can hide those with a couple of bushes, and this indentation along the top here where it doesn't look quite right, I can hide that with a bit of foliage. So I think it'll look really good all blended in. So the next thing is to put it on the layout. And that's how the tunnel portal looks on the layout. I haven't glued it in place yet, but you get the idea. It looks fairly good in this position. I like it. So thanks for visiting Sonic Hills, and I'll catch you on the next one. Bye.